who's got more heart than me. Some players rise to the pressure, some players crumble under it. There's an enormous amount of pride that I get in hearing, Game United States when I'm playing out there. It's like no other feeling.
In Davis Cup tennis, Jim Courier is the ultimate warrior, a four-time Grand Slam winner whose 13 appearances for his country have each ended in American triumphs. The latest coming against Great Britain when his fist-pumping five-setters with Tim Henman and Greg Rusedski were instrumental in earning the United States a quarterfinal meeting with Australia.
I think I pretty much do that when I'm playing big matches. I tend to pump myself up like that, but you kind of have to combat the elements. I mean, you got 9,300 people screaming at the top of their lungs. No one's screaming for you except a handful of teammates. You kind of have to help yourself out a little bit.
The match with Rusedski was the fourth time in Courier's Davis Cup career that he's been called on to close out an American victory, a job he embraces with heart and soul.
A lot of people have mentioned to me that particular point where I kind of raised my shirt to my teammates and kind of pointed at my heart. And that was a really off-the-cuff thing. It wasn't planned out. It just kind of happened. I mean, I hit a really good shot on a huge point in the match, and that was just I was nervous. I was tense. Basically, fifth sets come down to who's got the most heart, and I think that's always the case. And I think I have a lot of heart.
I think that really exemplifies Davis Cup. Davis Cup and perhaps Jim Courier, probably against the odds that he beat two guys that maybe, if he played on the regular tour, his chances might be a little bit more limited. But under those conditions of playing in front of a huge crowd, he's playing for his country, he's been in such a big match situation before with all the great slams that he's won in years gone by, and I think it's set up perfectly for him, and he was able to handle it.
In the wake of his Davis Cup heroics, Courier, who placed the victory on par with winning his first Grand Slam at the French Open, faced the inevitable question: if you can do it for your country, why not for yourself on the ATP Tour, where the former #1 is currently languishing among the also-rans?
That's the million-dollar question right there. I think I can. I think it's a question of discipline, and it's a question of taking each occasion and treating it like it's a big moment. I've been playing on the tour for a long time, and week in and week out, sometimes it's not as easy to get up for it, and I'm struggling with that from time to time, but I'm aware of it now, and I'm trying to rectify it. I think I've been doing a pretty good job of it lately.
And after his Davis Cup display, there are few who'd wish him anything but success. Jim Courier, an all-American hero. I'm Mark Stanley. I'm Mark Stanley, CNN Headline Sports. What do 5 head coaches with a current tenure of 21 seasons and 4 playoff appearances between them have in common? All are now ex-head coaches after being fired on Monday, a day after the regular season ended. The axe fell in Carolina for Dom Capers, a former coach of the year during his 4 years as the only head coach of the Panthers. Capers led Carolina to the NFC Championship in '96, but 2 subpar years since, culminating in a 4-12 mark this year, was his demise. Another former coach of the year was also let go in Philadelphia. Ray Rhodes said goodbye and probably good riddance after going 9-22-1 since making 2 playoff appearances in his 4 years as Eagles coach. Another bird dropped from the nest happened in Baltimore, where Ted Marchibroda was fired as the Ravens head coach. Despite having 5 players elected to this year's Pro Bowl, the Ravens still finished 6-10. Out in Seattle, Dennis Erickson parted company with the Seahawks. 3 500 seasons in 4 years and no playoff appearances brought on his first dismissal of his coaching career. And the Chicago Bears, coming off their 3rd straight losing season, fired Dave Wannstedt. With only 1 trip to the playoffs in 6 years, Wannstedt spread the wealth.
We made some bad decisions, personnel-wise, draft-wise, some free agency-wise, and I was involved in those decisions. We made them as an organization. When you start looking at #1 draft picks, and Curtis Hurt this year, the Rick Meyer scenario the year before that, Rashaan Salaam, it doesn't take much to add up.
When you win, you get rewarded, and Tennessee's Phil Fulmer will soon be able to vouch for that. College football's winningest active coach is expected to rocky right to the top with a new contract by the beginning of the year before Tennessee's Fiesta Bowl game with Florida State. The deal is reportedly in the $1 million range per season. And finally, American skier Christina Kosnick took her first victory of the season in the Women's World Cup slalom held in Simmering, Austria on Monday. She posted a combined time of 1 minute, 40.49 seconds in winning the night slalom, the second of her career. I'm Mark Stanley, CNN Headline Sports. I'm Mark Stanley, CNN Headline Sports. The Arizona Cardinals won't have to include any thank you notes when they send out next year's Christmas cards. They claim the NFL's last playoff spot all on their own with a 16-13 win over San Diego in the final week of the regular season. Chris Jackie kicked a game-winning field goal for the third straight week. This one from 52 yards as time expired, giving the 9-7 Cardinals their first playoff appearance in 16 years. So who could blame them for being giddy?
Hey, I was just elated. I'm jumping up and down like I'm about 20 years old, but hey, it just feels good to be back in this.
The Cardinals will travel to Dallas to face the Cowboys and Emmitt Smith next week. Smith will have a new title next to his name at running back, and that is the all-time NFL rushing touchdown leader after he scored his 124th TD from the ground, passing Marcus Allen in that honor. Smith added number 125 a bit later on as the Cowboys beat Washington 23-7. A win Sunday put the San Francisco 49ers in the holiday mood as hosts in the first week of the playoffs against the Green Bay Packers. Steve Young graciously set a team record with his 36th touchdown pass of the year as the 49ers beat the Rams for the 17th straight time. In Denver, the Broncos got back on the horse-drawn wagon after their two-game losing skid came to a reigning halt versus Seattle. Going in, Terrell Davis needed 170 yards to become the fourth running back to break the 2,000-yard barrier in a season, and he got it. Denver also reached new heights with their 14th win as well. He came, he saw, he conquered, and along the way he threw 4 touchdown passes. Vinny Testaverde matched a career high by tossing 4 TDs and passing Broadway Joe for the most Jet end zone strikes in a season with 29. New York topped the 12-win plateau for the first time in routing the Patriots. To the top 10 of college hoops, Cincinnati coach Bob Huggins almost had to wait another day to get his 399th career win. The Dayton Flyers providing the drama in the final seconds, but Kenyon Martin swats away a potential upset. The number 4 ranked Bearcats barely win by 2. You're up to the minute. I'm Mark Stanley, Headline Sports.